Good morning. A warm welcome to our faculty and staff, to the parents, families, and friends of our soon-to-be graduates, and most especially to the class of 2021 on the occasion of your graduation from Solebury School. Let's have a round. On my left wrist is a rather thin silver bracelet inscribed with only 7 words, only 7. I've worn it for most of my adult life, and I've tried to live my life heeding the message of these 7 words. These words remind me that tomorrow is promised to no one, that I should appreciate the moment I'm living in right now, that I should treasure the people that are walking beside me on my journey. The message keeps me grounded in the here and now, and while we all look ahead with anticipation for this adventure or that experience, these 7 words remind me I should never sacrifice now for later. Here and now is the only moment I have. As I thought about what to say to you today, I thought about those 7 words, and I reflected on the year you have just completed. The entirety of your senior year as Silbury students was lived in the shadow of a pandemic. There was disruption, uncertainty, disappointments, fear, frustration, at times anger, and Zoom became the new four-letter word. But there was also accomplishment, success, perseverance, grit, determination, happiness, and at times sheer joy. And now you sit here on these park-like grounds about to conclude your high school years. You made it. You overcame. You figured it out. You stayed in the moment and did what you must do in order to be here today, Silbury School's 94th graduating class. As I thought about today and this moment and you, I found myself pondering not what you have lost, not about the disruption and challenges you have faced, but rather what you have preserved and what you have discovered. While you have managed to cling to some of the most treasured aspects of your Silbury School experience over the past 9 months, I hope you have also had time to reflect on the following. I would posit that the first discovery may be the realization of the impermanence of normal. As you look ahead to your life's journey, I suspect that your generation will experience a pace of change far greater than any generation in several centuries. Perhaps the only comparison might be Great Britain in the mid to late 18th century at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. If I'm right, over the course of your life's journey, what is normal will change many times. For all of us, but especially for your generation, to thrive going forward will be to embrace the reality that whatever the new normal is, it will be temporary, followed by more disruption, and then the emergence of a new normal, and on and on. Unlike previous generations, you will need to curate a different skill set over your lifetime to recognize, adjust, and adapt to the ever-changing new normals that confront you. Flexibility, agility, nimbleness, together with courage, compassion, and empathy, must be front of mind as your world and our world continues to change. I hope your second discovery in this moment is the recognition of the fragile nature of what we humans have constructed and call civilization. As a species, we are more interconnected now than at any time in our history. We have learned that something that happens around the world, or perhaps 1,000 miles away in, say, Minneapolis, affects us all in real and tangible ways. The concept of us and them must give way to the concept of we if the progress humanity has made becomes progress for all and not just for some. I hope you have also discovered that you are more resilient than you may have thought. Life in the form of the COVID-19 panic threw you a horrific curve last year and throughout your senior year. You were robbed of some memories you should have had, memories and moments you may have been anticipating for months, if not years. Some of you were sad and angry and despondent, but you overcame, you pushed through, you made it to this moment. And so as you sit here now, wistfully giving leave to your thoughts, allowing them to tap dance across a treasure trove of memories unleashed in moments like this, your focus no doubt is blurred, reminiscences of the past colliding with wonder about the future, all the while relishing with well-deserved satisfaction all that today's ceremony symbolizes for you. As I look ahead and wonder with you where the road will take you, I have these hopes for you. That among the stuff you learned during your years at Silbury, in your personal traveling kit, we with you have nurtured the following. First, an appreciation for perspective. The highs are never quite as high, nor the lows so low as they seem in the moment. When faced with the immediacy of whatever, for example, maybe say a pandemic, take a breath, take time to think, and take the longest view possible before acting. Second, cultivate a sense of humor and find laughter no matter the challenge. Live your life as an adventure to be embraced, not a burden to be borne. With perspective, you can always find a reason to laugh, to lighten the burden for just a bit, while you gather yourself to do the hard that faces you. You have already faced sorrows and defeats and failures and disappointments, and yet you are here, drinking in the success of finishing something you began so long ago. And so you have in your kit already cultivated in yourself tenacity, resilience, and grit. Continue to nurture these qualities. They are required traveling companions for the balance of your journey, if at the end you seek to declare your journey one well made. Lean into the years ahead of you with courage. Without courage, our world becomes very small, and absent the boldness required to fully engage our life's journey, we become very much like the small metal ball in an old-fashioned pinball machine, batted about by the many forces around us, but inconsequential to the outcome. Truth, integrity, responsibility, accountability. With courage, you can seize these as the beacon to guide you. Accept that you will fail. You will have disappointments. Fairness will not always be offered. But know that with perspective and tenacity and grit and resilience, with a sense of humor and with courage, your journey can be an adventure to be embraced. Finally, find your own 7 words that can remind you daily, especially in the hardest moments, how you want to live your life. To the class of 2021, I could not be more proud of you. You have my love and affection, and I offer you my heartfelt and warmest congratulations. Would you please welcome our first senior speaker, Elizabeth Ajay.
Hi, everyone. For the few of you who don't know me, I'm Elizabeth. Most people call me Lizzie now. For a long time, I was just Elizabeth. Honestly, being just Elizabeth isn't bad, but I wasn't anyone special before Soberry. Now, you can be special in a good or a bad way. If I'm being honest, my first experience here was the latter. I came to a place where I was surrounded by people so different from me. Everywhere I turned, I would see skin as white as snow in contrast to mine. Every time I spoke, I'll hear how strong my accent was compared to a person next to me. It was quite a cultural shock. Imagine being used to one word and having your whole life change in an instant. I didn't think I would ever fit in here, but that mindset didn't stay for long. See, when you read modern day books, they always speak of this one moment of self-realization, this one instance where everything you've experienced suddenly makes sense. I never had that moment. To be honest, I think it's unrealistic to expect one instance to suddenly clear everything up for you. Personally, I think it takes many moments of trial and error, many times of trying and failing to understand life and change in general. For me, one of those was actually when I made my first friend. I actually first met her in the acceptance dinner picnic, and my first thought was, God, she is short. Now, I'm not trying to be funny, I'm not trying to be rude, I promise. If you know who I'm talking about, you know exactly what I mean. She was this small girl, barely 4 foot at the time. She was quiet and reserved, but always managed to involve me in everything she did. I remember her dragging me to basketball games when I was too scared to talk to others. Because of her, I never once felt lonely in the 4 years I've been here. Vicky was just the first of many friends I made here. Friends who are so different from me, yet couldn't be a better fit to me. Some of my friends think frogs are cute. And others think the definition of a great meal is mixing sour cream and salsa with rice. Now, I'm sorry, Alice, but I still think that's disgusting. Some of my friends go off their way to buy me groceries because they know how expensive it is to order online. Thinking back on it now, I can't believe how much I've gained from coming here. How many experiences I never would have had if I had chosen to stay at home and not risk opening a new chapter in my life. These experiences aren't just limited to my friends. I remember the first time I was ever asked what I want to be called by. It was in Brother's Algebra 2 and trade class. I remember sitting at my desk when Brother came around, getting to know her new students. When she asked me what my name was, I said Elizabeth. Then she asked me what I wanted to be called. That was a strange concept to me. See, my old school was very strict. There was no time or space for nicknames. So when Brother asked me what I wanted to be called, that was a monumental moment for me. It was one of those instances when I started to change how I thought about sobering. I began to open myself up to sobering. I started to think that maybe it wouldn't be too bad here. Maybe, just maybe, I could belong here. Maybe I could be myself here. You know, I used to force myself to forget everything in the past. If you ask who I went to middle school with, I'll be able to recall maybe one name. But Soberry, I remember everyone here forever. Every small memory I've made here, from having late night conversations about every topic under the sun with Abby, or jamming out in a small music room with Ali, from sitting in the dining hall with Vicky every day after dinner, singing our hearts out and performing for the chefs. Even something as small as getting my butt handed to me in Blockers by Brie every Friday night, or trading witty comebacks with Emily. All these small moments will stay with me forever. There will be a constant reminder of the amazing chance I allowed myself by being willing to embrace change. So I'm not going to tell you some cliche story about how great change is. Change isn't great. It's painful and borderline miserable sometimes. But change pushes you. It forces you to expand your mind. Change may not be great, but it's the only inevitable thing in this world, and change may hurt. But all you can do is embrace it. So I won't tell you to enjoy every moment of your life, because you won't. You have highs and lows, perhaps more lows than highs. You have days where you want to stay in bed under your blanket and binge watch Netflix shows. But for all of those moments, there will be at least one instance where change will give you the greatest gift you could ever expect. Because of change, I got to come here and meet some truly amazing people who will be a part of my life from here on out. Because of change, I can honestly say that the girl who came here 4 years ago isn't the same one leaving. I'm still different. I still talk and look different, but I don't let those differences isolate me from others. I realize now that I don't need to fit in to belong. We don't need to fit in to belong. We've all changed so much in the past 4 years. We've become closer as a class and a community. And yet, regardless of all of that, we are our own people. We belong together because we are so different from each other. We're a class that's had to incorporate change into every part of our lives for the past 2 years. We're the grads of 2021, a class that's faced many challenges, yet we made the best of every situation. We laughed and cried through everything, knowing that we would make it. I couldn't be prouder to call myself a member of this class. And so, to the class of 2021, I'm Lizzie. It's a pleasure to have spent the past 4 years with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth and Lizzie. Before our next speaker, I would like to publicly thank the entire facilities team and our IT people for all their work and effort to create this space for your graduation. Well done. Would you please welcome our next senior speaker, Tim Carroll.
Hi, everyone. Before I begin, I'd like to give a couple quick thank yous. I'd like to thank Britta Milks, my advisor, for helping me navigate my Solbury experience in ways academic and social. You not only teach a couple amazing math classes, algebra and trig, and BC calculus, but you're also a superstar advisor. And I'd like to thank my brother, Sean. It was your initial idea to have me go to boarding school, and I'm infinitely thankful. I know that I don't say it enough, but I'm really thankful I've had you in my life. Now, the speech proper. Over my years at Solbury, I've been grappling with many questions, some of them philosophical, like what is the morally correct thing to do in a given situation? I can thank honors ethics for that one. Some questions have been comparatively mundane, like should I try eating that Fiesta dog or not? Do I really want to go for that? But I have been grappling with one question the most. Almost every other English class with Zach Arrington, at some point he reminds us to, quote, be a human, eat a vegetable, or look an animal in the eyes. And I've been wondering, especially this year, what does it mean to be a human? I think that being a human means finding balance in your life. There are two sides to this coin. The first is recognizing that we are all very imperfect and very human, but the second is challenging your limits nonetheless, despite that fact. For the first side of the coin, I sometimes did not afford myself enough space to feel my emotions and recognize that I'm not perfect. There were many nights, especially junior year, when I was just overwhelmed from the sheer amount of stuff I had to do. I remember in the spring of 2020, laying on the floor of my dorm room at 1 a.m., crying, so stressed about the uncertainty of the pandemic, of my AP exams, and of my future in general. There was a night this year, after a tough debate loss, getting only to the semifinals of a big debate tournament, added on top of a pile of mounting tests and projects, where I just felt powerless. But I'm here in one piece. I took time to myself to go for a walk on the trail, hang out with my friends like Andrew Chen, or go see Julie too, of course. Above all else, I've learned to accept any loss with grace, or in the words of Jared Levy, all my L's are lessons. Perfect is a pretty impossible standard to achieve, and being unsatisfied with anything but perfect is a recipe for disaster. But the other side of the coin is that we should push ourselves to achieve really hard things. The most sincere piece of advice from me to everyone who is yet to graduate is just two words: do more. Do more school. Do more reading, more flashcards, more practice problems. You'll be shocked at how much you can improve by putting in an extra 10% of effort. But also do more socializing. Do more signing up for random weekend trips, more talking to students you don't really know that well, more trying to learn a new skill just because. There's a lot of experiences out there that most of us don't take enough advantage of. So really, this question of what does it mean to be a human is, in my mind, more of an amalgamation of some more questions. Are we pushing ourselves enough? Do we really know what we are capable of? Are we taking enough time to enjoy ourselves and the things we really love to do? The final takeaway is this: we're human. We're not bureaucracy machines. We're interchangeable cogs that exist to do work for the sake of working. And we are not just dopamine blobs. I strongly believe that we should do more than just lie horizontally on our beds and scroll through Snapchat or TikTok. The message of my speech is a bit paradoxical. Push yourself, but don't go overboard. Try to be perfect, but be okay with being imperfect. At the end of the day, it's a fine line to tread. We should push ourselves to do what is fulfilling, but we should recognize that we're just humans. It's not easy to find this balance, but after my 4 years at Soulbury, I've gotten closer. Soulbury is an environment where you are encouraged to test your limits, where you have classmates, teachers, mentors to support you during times good and bad. I wish everyone else the best of luck in finding this balance in your lives. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Soulbury, for everything you've given to me.
Thank you, Tim. I would also like to take a moment to thank Christine Thiel and the Beautification Committee of the Home and School Association for all their work on decorating the campus and making this place look spectacular. Our next senior speaker is Peiyao Liu, who remains in China, but pre-recorded her speech for us. Please welcome Peiyao.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Peiyao Liu. I'm sad that I can't be here physically, but my soul is right here at the graduation. On this special day, it's my honor to speak on behalf of this incredible student body. Over the past few years, we all worked intensively and accomplished a lot. We've survived the British Math, Dance AP US History, and Senior and Rust ESL. We also survived all the AP exams, SAT and ACT, and college applications. And most of all, we survived the global pandemic. So congratulations, class of 2021. We've all made it. When I was told that I would be one of the graduation speakers, I was filled with excitement. But soon after, I got a bit frustrated writing this speech because I'm not like Tim Carroll or Casey, who are fabulous speakers. Spending several days trying to figure out what to write reminds me of doing my first monologue of a final project in freshman year. I literally stayed up all night with my classmate Sarah Ho preparing the monologue. It might sound like I did a whole night of hard work, but only Sarah and I knew I spent more of the night worrying about the monologue than preparing. My experience might differ from yours, but we all come away with moments where Sobre comforted us. I've seen a lot of crying at Sobre, but I've never seen a crying student left alone. Sobre is filled with a kind of caring spirit. When walking on Sobre's campus, smiling faces and laughter can be seen and heard everywhere. I'll never forget a time in Britta's class when I took out a banana for a snack. Just as I was about to take my first bite, Britta announced to the whole class how spiders love to lay their eggs in banana skin. I never took another bite, and the whole class couldn't stop laughing. When COVID hit, everyone was feeling scared and lonely. Sasha, our Dean of Residence Life, opened up her home on several occasions, serving us everything from hot pot to pizza. For a little while, it made me feel like home. Even though COVID kept us confined to campus all summer, Russ could still take people out to work on the trails where they could feel far away from the pandemic and enjoy a beautiful place. None of it was easy though. I can still recall the painful nights when I was studying until midnight, finishing my homework or preparing for tests. I would get so annoyed and started to count how many days it was until graduation day. I would get so frustrated and ask myself, do I really need this high school diploma? Now that graduation is finally here, I'm happy to say that I don't need this diploma. I want this diploma. Because after today, we're no longer Sobre students, but Sobre alumni. From now on, it will be about the memories and all we'll miss. We'll miss the sweat dripping down our backs while running for a sports team on a field. We'll miss the laughter when Gretchen climbed on the classroom window to see where the noise came from. We'll miss the applause when Tom announced that final exams were canceled. We'll miss our favorite classes, our favorite teachers, and even our favorite dining hall meals. After the day, all of these will become our Sobre stories. Some of the stories are hilarious. Some are bittersweet. Every one of you sitting there now has your own collection. Take a moment right now and think of one. These are Sobre's gifts to us. Some are gifts that we share, some are ours alone, but they are all priceless. I want to thank each of you for the stories that you've shared with me. I'm sure that there are other graduation ceremonies going on, some happening even today. They are hearing lots of talks about goals, stages, and new chapters, and that's fine. But tonight, when I go to bed, I'll be thinking about the screams in Holmquist's hallway when the snow days were announced. The smell of cooking coming from Waterland Kitchen, and just how cold it got for soccer under the lights. These are all best graduation gifts I could ever hope for, and I thank each of you for every one of them.
Thank you, Payal. There is an additional group I would like to thank publicly, the faculty and staff of Silbury School, who labor in love to shape, to mold, and to provide the education that is the preparation for life. Thank you, my friends. Would you please welcome our final senior speaker, Bree Hughes.
To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that. This was the quote I read at my 8th grade graduation 4 years ago. At the time, the quote really hit home for me. Now, I don't think it applies anymore. Not because being yourself isn't important, but because Solebury has given me the opportunity to be myself in an environment that isn't trying to make me something I'm not. Solebury gives all of its students, and dare I say faculty, a chance to explore themselves, make mistakes, and come out the other side stronger than ever. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bree Hughes, and Solebury has been my home for the last 3 years. When I came here in 10th grade, I was, to say it plainly, lost. I was coming from a large public school where I didn't seem to exist. I was used to getting lost in the crowd, and I expected Solebury to treat me the same. That was not the case. The amount of compassion I received from those around me was astounding. One of the first things I noticed, and something I tell every family I tour, was that when people say they wanted to help you, they actually mean it. And that's not something you find at many places. Solebury is unique in that way. Many schools preach kindness and acceptance, but Solebury delivers. There is no doubt that Solebury is a place of opportunity. During my time here, I've had the opportunity to play 3 sports, perform in 3 shows, compete in speech, host coffee house, be a proctor, a tour guide, a peer leader, and to give this speech. I've also had the opportunity to play and beat Elizabeth and Blockus at 2 a.m., to dip Adrian every year at casino night, and to sing Old Town Road with the whole boarding community my sophomore year. Most of all, Solebury has given me the opportunity to be myself. I'm not the kind of person who will ever be athlete of the year like Kelly, Pau, and Charlie, or first in class like Tim. Hell, I failed calculus twice. But I am standing up here today representing our amazing class, full of people like Zoe, who writes amazing stories, and Allie, who's one of the best musicians I know and is always willing to help a boarder out, and Sawyer, who is the only girl on the wrestling team, and everyone in our class who has ever celebrated silent victories. This year, more than ever before, we have demonstrated that we are a class of resilience. We were sent home last year, but we came back and we crushed it. The skills we learned this past year will stay with us for the rest of our lives. This year has taught us to stay strong in the face of adversity and to adapt to whatever change comes our way. I believe this year has fostered a bond that is only possible by coming together in the toughest of times with a sense of optimism and flexibility that is ever present at Solebury. This year has been an endless road of twists and turns and a feeling of uncertainty that is hard to shake. Solebury has not only given us a distraction, but it has provided us the necessary support to help us overcome our anxieties and enjoy our senior year. Solebury has provided us with a safe environment to learn about ourselves and become strong, motivated citizens. Our class understands the importance of supporting one another in times of hardship and coming together. I ask that we all remember this. This community does not expire when we graduate, but instead becomes a brighter, more important beacon of light. Whenever you feel alone or things aren't going according to plan, look to your time at Solebury for guidance. Remember that the relationships you made here last a lifetime. Remember the mistakes you made and the lessons you learned from them. Remember the significance of being yourself. We are student athletes, we are thespians, debaters, math nerds, poets, musicians, artists, but most of all, we are the class of 2021. I would like to thank my parents, my teachers, Jen Perez and God for helping me get here today. And in the words of Elle Woods, we did it.
Thank you, Bree. And Bree, calc is overrated. Before we welcome our next speaker, I would like to ask each member of the class of 21 to offer their thanks, love, and appreciation to their parents. Let's be honest, without them, you would not be. And without their support and their sacrifice manifested in so many ways, you would not have had the privilege of attending Silbury School. Please give your parents a round of applause. The class of 2021 has asked Libby Pfeiffer to address them. Please welcome Libby.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. To the students, my colleagues, family and friends, and most importantly to the graduates, I feel immensely honored to have been chosen to speak today. Like many of the graduates, I started my journey at Silbury School 4 years ago. Many graduation speeches are about independence, leaving high school to explore the world and discover new things. Independence is important, but it is not everything. Without limits, it can lead to a callous disregard for the needs of others and ultimately one's own needs. If your sense of worth is determined solely by your salary or your GPA, then you have lost sight of what makes us human, our relationships to each other and our ability to care for one another. Whenever I hear one of these speeches, I always imagine each student adventuring forth alone. I do not think that this is the message that we need right now. So instead, I will be talking to you today about interdependence. It's a 10-cent word for finding the courage to care deeply and honestly for each other and to allow ourselves to be cared for. Interdependence comes from the recognition that we are all connected to each other, and how we treat each other is ultimately how we treat ourselves. I know that this might sound naive or trite, but it is not, because I do not believe that this is a simple or a meek idea. It is, in fact, a radical one. And here is why. As you all know, and perhaps the seniors who have just passed through the college application gauntlet know best of all, we are taught to measure our worth through external accomplishments, test grades, points scored on an athletic field, or internships, promotions. But these things do not a meaningful life make. Graduates, when you think back on your time here at Silbury, you will likely not remember it as a competition. You'll remember it as a community. You'll remember being in the pack for assemblies and everyone clapping for each other like all the time. You'll reminisce about evenings spent in your dorm lounge having both ridiculous and meaningful conversations with a dorm parent or a group of friends. You'll think back to Tom greeting you in the circle every morning, or Anthony Porter giving you the warmest welcome when you come into the dining hall. You'll remember inviting someone who has become a friend to play a game of pickleball or basketball in the middle of campus on a beautiful day. These are each moments of connection or community or interdependence. What is it about Silbury that cultivates such moments? This question is worth asking because communities can help us understand interdependence too. Every community must balance the needs of each of its members with the greater good. Now that's a spoiler for Philosophy 101. And from what I can tell, the communities that successfully find this balance cultivate a few key values, namely vulnerability and courage. One definition of vulnerability is the willingness to show emotion or allow one's weaknesses to be seen or known. In order to know ourselves and each other, we must trust each other. To grow stronger, become more connected, And to feel more deeply, we must also be open. And this takes courage. This last year and a half have provided more lessons in the importance of courage and vulnerability than any of us needed. It takes vulnerability to acknowledge the pain of injustice. And it takes courage to stand up and ask that we do better. Leading a Diversity Day workshop as a student and speaking your truth. Acknowledging when you have lost sight of the needs of someone close to you. Acting in or doing tech for a virtual play. Asking for help when things aren't going as planned. Trying to make friends at a new school, even when you can't see your whole face. All of these require small amounts of trust and bravery. To be honest, it also takes some vulnerability and courage to unmute yourself and speak up in a class on Zoom. To those who did this often, you know who you are, and I, as a representative of all the teachers, thank you. But this last year has also shown us how empty life becomes when we don't have each other. Netflix is great, but it's not that great. To be vulnerable and alone is not growth, it's alienation. And we have seen what happens when we force parts of our society into this position, whether through economics or apathy. I say this not to cast blame, but to acknowledge what we have passed through together. Because it is through such an acknowledgement that we are able to understand the choices that will come next. For those of you graduating today, you now have the opportunity to go out into the world and create a new template for interdependence. One that has your beliefs and the things you care about in it. You will be coming from a place that has cared for you and where you have learned to care for others. This is what Soulberry is at its best. And this is what each of us is and can be at our best. Put another way, you will have the opportunity to find out so much more about what kind of society you want to build. What communities make you feel held? And what kind of relationships help you discover who you are? Hopefully, Soulberry has given you a head start. If you choose, these are questions that you can carry with you throughout your lives. The best questions do not have a single static answer. Rather, their answers grow and change as we do. I will leave you with this challenge. Find the courage to care about the people and places that make up your life. Be vulnerable enough to know yourself and allow others to know you. And keep asking yourself what these ideas mean to you in the life that you happen to be living. I can, with a good deal of confidence, say that it's only going to get better from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Libby. Class of 2021, it is now time to award your diplomas. Rick Toney, Director of Studies, will announce the recipients. When your name is called, please come forward.
Elizabeth Ajudi Ajay. Mark Hensel Baranski. Mackenzie Brooke Boreen. Dominic Joseph Borzacello. Timothy Tenzin Carroll. Alex Joseph Cavallero. Se Chung. Andrew H. Chen. Zelly Ariel Chewaki. Elliot Annalee Clayton. Jennifer Sewa Crovo. Charlotte Davis Hupp. Francesco Damiano DePinto. Casey Rebecca Epstein Gross. Nathaniel Aldrich Evans. Charles Talop Franklin. Victoria Alejandra Garcia. Terrence Joseph Glover, Jr. Charlotte Rose Goodman. Benjamin Xavier Gregory. Megan Ruth Hewitt. Kelly Rose Hockenberger. Xiao Meng Ho, in absentia. Xiaojun Wang. Bridget Ashlyn Hughes. Michael Joseph Junio. Emily Maria Kneppers. Alexander Danning Lee. Yanji Lee, in absentia. Zoe Isabella Lipsky. Peyao Liu, in absentia. Nicholas Joseph Lynch. Benjamin Jagger McNamara. Sawyer Maylin Mildwerf. Adrian Jose Monzon. Amalia Dora Hoffman Nachman. Paola Cruz Naughton. Allie Hope Nichols. Nils Peter Nyberg. Madeline Rose O'Brien. Shamia Brielle Ortiz. Joanna Pineda Angon. Andrew Zimmerman Ratner. Sophie Tamar Rivkin Fish. Jake Ryan Schmuckler. Emerson Andrew Scoggins in absentia. Tyler James Scotty. Marcel Portillo Sesagolo. Abby Rose Steele. Elizabeth June Sullivan Crowley. Jiao Sun. Puravid Tavatpatana. Matthew McKinnon Toole. Madison Ann Thompson. Autumn Pearl Walker. Shuang Wu. Xiaofang Zhu, in absentia. Chuayang Yao, in absentia. I'm honored to present to you the 2021 Solbury School graduating class.
To the graduates, as you look ahead to your next journey and all the ones that follow, I would ask that you reflect on the words offered by President John F. Kennedy many years ago. Kennedy noted that when written in Chinese, the word for crisis is composed of two characters. One represents danger, the other represents opportunity. It is inarguable that we are graduating you and sending you into a world with many crises. It is also true that you enter the world with opportunities to make a difference. I urge you to seize these opportunities to make our world a better place for all humans. As you leave Solbury, go forward with zest, ambition, and purpose, and courage. Don't forget to have some fun and find your 7 words. This concludes Solbury's 94th graduation.